Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in today on a great viewer question, and that is to understand how and why the covert narcissist needs to manipulate supply in relationships, and how do I break free of this. They had an aha moment, basically a moment of discovery that has really been devastating them for almost a decade, and that is the experience of a trauma bond. So we want to look at and understand, why does the covert narcissist enslave or ensue upon others as supply in terms of their manipulation strategy and keeping others around to help prop them up. And then furthermore, what damage does that create to others in a relationship unbeknownst to their conscious awareness, and how this then kind of sets your life off track, really off track of your purpose, your energy, your focus, your happiness, your own experience directly with life, full on, full throttle. How does that impair your ability to live? These are big, super deep, profound questions. So that is an excellent question. So we're really going to zoom in and focus in on that today. So thank you so much for your inquiry. And before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have actually stepped to the plate and donated and contributed to the Peace and Harmony channel. Thank you so much for your donations. It really helps me to continue to move and be inspired and produce relevant and fresh content, and it lets me know that this is really a value to you and that it's really making sense. So thank you so much, and my heartfelt also gratitude to those of you who interact in the channel and support each other through comments, inquiries, and your support of each other and discussion down below. So thank you so much for your donations. It really means a lot to me, and it's going far here. And we are working on the website and the book. It is a lot of work in the making. As you can see from the videos, it's a lot easier for me and more efficient, and I feel results oriented to the community to create this video content, because you can play it at your leisure, you can write things down, you can stop and pause, you can reflect, and it can always be there for when you want to come back to it. So for me, this is the most relevant venue and medium for me to relay information to you. So thank you so much. And absolutely, if this channel, content, tools, or resources have been a positive influence to you, please do feel free to participate and donate to the Peace and Harmony channel. There is a PayPal Donate Now button here on the About page at the Peace and Harmony channel. So we are zooming in and focusing in on this amazing video viewer question, and that is to really understand, why does the covert narcissist ensue or enmesh others? What does it mean to be enmeshed with an individual who is a covert narcissist? Someone who is really keeping you kind of held back, living small, living tangled, feeling like your arms, you're sitting on your own hands. You've got your hands tied behind your back. You're in emotional arrest, developmental arrest. You're developmentally arrested, meaning not like from the police, but at a holding space, like a holding cell. You feel held back. You are sort of minimized, and you always have to defer to the authority. And this authority is outside of yourself, whether it's a person, an organization, a society, from the macrocosm down to the microcosm. The issue with enmeshment is that there's a boundary violation. There's a disturbance there. Think of it like, you hear about in biology the blood-brain barrier. Certain things are not supposed to get through there. There are certain cells, there are certain viruses, bacteria. Let's think of it even at the cellular level. There should be kind of like a membrane or a protective layer around you, and that is your boundary. When you become enmeshed, you become like, through osmosis, they cross over that boundary. Their energy, their needs, their importance, their authority, their needs become sort of enmeshed and intertwined with yours. So there is no separation between you and them. And it's not like an experience of oneness where really healing is there, because at healing, you're in a state of wholeness, meaning you're centered within yourself and you are complete. You have everything you need to thrive, survive, be happy, and fulfilled when you're living in this awareness. We are talking about psychology and sort of growth of understanding and awareness and doing this work, which means, processing through. But it is to understand that in covert narcissistic relationships, they have been able to manipulate through language, through body language, through unspoken assumptions, through the unwritten code, the tablets, thou shall not. It's really sort of at that command basis, which is then hardwired into your DNA, i.e. at the cellular level. It's in your body, it's in your neurology, how you're wired here upstairs, how you're feeling emotionally, how you're moving and carry yourself through your day, and how you present yourself to yourself. Yes, we are human beings. We are extremely complex. So we need to grasp this and understand this very basic understanding that enmeshment means that, this person's identity is not allowed to be separate, distinguished, supported, fulfilled, and reflected back. In other words, acknowledged on the most basic of levels. Like when we're talking about basic, we're talking about, rudimentary, 101, floor plans of the building. We're talking about the foundation. In such as positive eye contact. A viewer asked, why is this so important? And why does not the psychopath look at you in the eyes? Because the eyes are the windows of the soul. The eyes begin to open up and you can really kind of see into a person. You connect with more than, if you just look at their shoulders, you're not really connecting to them. If you look in their eyes, there is a connection. It connects to really the ether, the energy around, the cosmos, really sort of that full awareness, which, there's 10 trillion brain cells. Your brain is connected to a higher source, the divine. So we need to understand that there's an open channel within you, which is more intelligent than what you know. I mean, it would boggle your mind, how far away or how far ahead of you your higher consciousness is in terms of what it can get you to do, how it can get you to thrive, the solutions, how it can lift you up and support you when you're open to that. So when you are in your center and validated in a safe, positive manner. In other words, I like what you're doing. I like, what you did today. You look nice today. The eye contact, the genuine response, the stopping and, not holding a door, not, opening and shutting, but, full presentation of someone's body, i.e. a romantic other, an intimate other, a family member, and then giving you a positive validation, and then you being able to receive that safely and comfortably and acknowledge that and own that and have that I am. And so that experience, we're talking about a physiological, conscientious experience. If you are able to experience that, then that is your I am. And it's not just a momentary flash of I'm competent, I'm confident. It's an ongoing chronic state. In other words, you're defining your identity around this experience, this feeling, and this knowledge. Your KNOW know state. This is the self-doubt that is imprinted in others who are a manipulated source of supply. So in other words, you can't get by without me. You don't have what it takes without me. You must be in a deferred or minimized state. You are not equal to or capable of being equal or, having that sort of equality in relationship. There's the enmeshment. In other words, their needs are always infused in yours. So it's very difficult to differentiate yourself. There's, I can't do this without deferring to them. I can't do this without deferring. You can't think for yourself. It creates a thought disorder, i.e., the internal dialogue is not set up for success. Your I am, your identity, which you have the right to as a human being, which is, this is very profound, but it's I am, and then who you are about. In other words, I am love. I am bliss. I am divine. I am intelligent. I am whole. I am everything. I am important. So these feelings all sort of combined into one, like a super latte mocha drink with froth. In other words, everything's sort of energized within, and that is defining yourself around that distinct, separate feeling. Your body is distinct and separate. So this might sound very, very basic, but any sort of pro, any sort of athletic pro, any sort of movie star has the basics of their character. They have the basics of their skill set. When they've practiced dribbling more than anything. I mean, even though they seem so fancy, they have practiced the dribbling. They have practiced the free throw. They have practiced the running with the ball. I mean, this is the basics. So if you feel that you missed out, you need to recover this experience now. It is your I am, separate and distinct, physically, peace and harmony. I don't know if I can do this. Yes, you can. Yes, this is your inalienable right to be a distinct, separate, powerful individual. You do have power as a human being by virtue of your whole central nervous system, your parasympathetic simple nervous system. You are combined, you are connected to that higher energy, which, can, once you are living in that centered space, you will find that you're thinking and feeling differently. You're able to think of solutions. You're able to think on your feet. You're able to, live more energized. You don't have guilt, the pit in your stomach where your stomach is always hurting because you have the guilt. You're afraid that if you make a move, you're going to get slapped in the face. You're going to get slammed in the door. You're going to get slammed with the books. You're going to get slammed with the keys. You're going to get yelled at. You're going to get minimized. The feelings, the repetition that have been imprinted in your hard wiring, like your hardware of a computer, is holding you back. So we want to release that and understand that that has been set up and established by a covert narcissist, because they want to guarantee that someone will always be there for their fallback, that someone will always be there to satisfy their needs, whether it's just the needs to validate them, ask about them. They are the breadwinner. They are the center of the household. They are what, life is centering around them. It's like, you are expected to orbit around them. And this drives enmeshment. In other words, it's easier for them to control people through the subtle covert means, through this, the stories that they tell, through the looks that they give, through what they're withholding. In other words, if you starve, it's like back in the day, thousands of years ago. What a better way to control the society than to starve them, make sure that they had famine. I mean, we're talking about governments who would starve, the area so these people didn't have enough food and sustenance so that they could, think. They were so weakened physically that they could not take care of themselves, so they needed the government. And do you see how the relationship between government and peoples can be very much the same way? So you really need to become aware of this and the trappings of this manipulation on all levels. So understand that you must indubitably, without a doubt, extract yourself from these sort of reaches of this experience or this pressure, because that pressure is what sort of clamps on your centered experience, and it gives you a less than feeling. So your whole nervous system, that's why we see the the anxiety, the social anxiety. I might make a mistake. I might say something. I might not look good enough. I am not perfect. So all these, the perfectionist one is a big one. So all these are all formulated in a very complex, sophisticated formula or drink, or sort of, we're talking about your internal chemistry. And so it is very important to restore that to a whole state, especially, and that's now through awareness. It is understanding what enmeshment means and how their emotional energy, their emotional needs, their own emotional insecurity for keeping others in a sort of, simmered down state. In other words, in a controlled state, and not liberated to go out and become the person that you are. There's always that little sort of hurt, nagging, scar. You feel, it's like an emotional hurt that always seems to sting. People, say it's a pit in my stomach, or it's a burden on my, on my shoulders. And so it develops this sort of enmeshment, and then there's a grudge, a feeling of begrudgery that is the heaviest burden of all. So oftentimes that can create an animosity, which creates an anger within you, and then it causes rebelliousness, which causes more trouble. So you then begin to self-sabotage those feelings. In other words, if the covert narcissist isn't there to keep you under that, that trauma bond or that enmeshment, people then find ways to get them own selves in trouble, so they act out or act in the very experience. They become, into bankruptcy situations where they need, someone to, they're out of control financially. They're out of control with their feelings. They, get out of control with a law. They're getting, parented by then the government. They find themselves homeless, unable to care for themselves, unable to become employed or adequately employed because of this sort of disempowered, weakened state, which is based on the enmeshment. So you can especially feel it, and so it's so important to understand that how that got imprinted, how that got set up, the why that it is, so that you'd always kind of be there, like a ball and chain. In other words, you are not self-defined. You're defined by how well you could take care of the narcissist's needs. So we need to get that valuation system out of your hardwiring completely. Your self-worth is not based on how well you take care of this person's needs or conform to that. So that's flawed thinking, that's erroneous thinking that is set up through the enmeshment and the, sort of, you are not perfect, you don't have what it takes feelings that then create the thoughts, that then create the behaviors, that then create the experiences, and then your identity, which, the temperament over time becomes a mood, and then mood repeated over time becomes, overall your character or your identity. So we need to break that cycle. And that's to understand that you are free and liberated, and it's a conscious awareness that we need to see that you right now are not entangled or ensnared or enslaved or held back. Right now, if you can understand in the privacy of this video, your liberation, that you do have what it takes. You are connected to your higher self. You are on the platform. Okay.